Hello, hello. Hello. What's up, Wing Chun? How's it going? Greek yogurt. Hi. How you doing? Honoka. How's it going? Valen. 2222. I don't know what that means. What's up, Peepzilla? Nice of you to join. Hey, Bigfoot. Ah, you're here in the beginning, eh? What's up, Disco Chixify? How's it going? Hope. Glad you could join. Hey, Losh. How's it going? Nitesh. Glad you're here. Hey, Squee. That's a cool name. What's up, Nikki? When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. How was your Halloween, guys? Remember? So we were doing the stream on Halloween, right? Yeah. I was wondering how many kids would knock on the door while we're streaming. I had all the lights off. Okay. So I was hoping no one come. Yeah, I think only two groups came, knocked on the door. Yeah, and we pretended that we didn't hear anything. You worked? And even if I wanted to give them candy, I couldn't, right? My door is jammed. If you guys still remember. Yep, I still have the foundation issues. So the door is jammed. I can't even open it. So what am I supposed to do? The stream paused with Lymphomy's head bent all the way back. Did it pause though? Did it? Or was my head actually that way? You took your son trick-or-treating? Awesome. How was it? Did he like it? Man, trick-or-treating when I was young was super fun. Yeah. I think it was more fun than nowadays, although I'm not sure. But I seem to remember that when I was a kid, like there were a lot more kids walking around the neighborhood going trick-or-treating. Yeah, I think so. That's my sense of it. I don't know about you guys. There seem to be a lot more kids going around. It seemed to be much more lively, like back in the day. What's up, Sal Luna? Am I ready for the blood moon? Is it really that bloody? No kids come to your area of town? Oh no. Yep. There were tons of trick-or-treaters when you were young, but hardly any now. Yeah, true. That's what I'm thinking. Is everyone just afraid now? Like, do you guys remember? Back in my days, we had a scare where people were afraid that that people would put razor blades inside candies and then give them out to kids. There was that scare. I remember that Halloween. I don't think it actually happened. I think it was just made up out of whole cloth. Yeah. Yeah, people were weird. Oh, there was also another scare. This is not related to Halloween. There was a scare where they said someone was going around into movie theaters and putting needles under the seats, needles full of HIV. So there was that scare. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. Now, even at the time, I thought that was ridiculous, but I still was afraid. I was still like looking at my theater seats, making sure that there were no needles. You took your candy to the hospital and they x-rayed it for free? No, they didn't. What? This year it was fentanyl in candy. True. True. Yeah, I like to think that someone accidentally gave kids their weed gummies and like all their edibles. Like, a lot of these edibles, you can't tell if they're outside of their packaging, right? You can't tell that is not actually just candy. Your mom always checked your candy before she would let you eat it. How did she check it? Did she eat a little piece and then gave it to you? How did she check it? You remember missing kids on milk cartons. Okay. I don't remember that. I think that was after my time. What's up, Lady Koi? Okay. She looked at the candy with her mom eyes. Gotcha. Drugs are expensive, so no one is giving those out for free. Well, no, they wouldn't give it out for free. But I would like to think that they mistakenly give it out, and then there are kids like walking around all stoned around the neighborhood. Wait, your parents look for punctures. Oh yes, true. My parents didn't do that, but I did that when I was young. I was yeah. I would open up candy and then look for punctures to see, yeah, if anyone injected something or inserted something. Yeah, true. Wait, I look. No. You would look at it. You would just look at the packaging and see if there are any holes. Yeah. All right, kids. What's the best candy? What's the best candy? I'm talking about mainstream candy. I guess in the U.S. I think Kit Kat is the best candy. Kit Kat. And a close second is Snickers. Oh, Kit Kat is so good. Yeah, the wafers just like really round it out. Okay, like I don't like eating just plain chocolate, and the wafers, something about them makes it just so good. Twix is good. Twix is not bad. Yeah, Twix is not bad. I'm not a fan of Milky Way. Oh, Almond Joy, guys, I'm so getting me so hungry. Almond Joy is good too. Almond Joy has got to be number 3-ish. The problem with Almond Joy is that, okay, it's really good, but like, I don't know, they need to make it, it looks like it's really bad quality, isn't it? Doesn't it always? You open it and it's usually just broken or, yeah, and then the coconut is just spilling out. It's so, they need to make it more high quality. Like Snickers, when you open it, it's like it's a pure Snickers. It's not broken or anything. There's something wrong with the way they make Almond Joy. It's just the chocolate is just too thin. Three Musketeers, get out of here. You're crazy. It's not even that good. That's on par with the Milky Way. Ew. Oh, Ferrero Rocher. Okay. How do you say it? Ferrero Rocher? Okay. These I used to get all the time, but I stopped getting them because they're just way too good. Yeah. These are hella good. No, you're right. These are really good. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna have to change my list. These are number one. Of the mainstream candies, these are number 1. And then Kit Kat can be number 2. Ferrero is so common. Get out of here. It's the hazelnuts that you like? Yeah, Ferrero is just it's just really good. Ghirardelli? Nah, not a fan. Alright, anyways. What are you guys doing? Alright. What did we get last time, guys? I remember we got really high last time. Was it like 75 or something? I think it was 75%. Alright, we're going big. We're going big today. Okay? We're going for 76%. Let's do it. Let's do it. I think it was 75. Right, after this is story time. It was 77? Oh my god. Okay. Let's shoot for 78. How am I gonna beat 77? Alright, 78. Djibouti. Alright, let me get in the mode. Djibouti. Djibouti. This must be Djibouti. Somalia. Oh, fuck. Alright, start over. Alright. Benin. Zimbabwe is one of these. Republic of the Congo. Fuck! Cameroon. Where's Cameroon? Oh. Eritrea must be here. Togo is this small one. Gambia. Somalia. Cape Verde. Oh my god. Malawi. Where's Malawi? Oh my god. Mali must be this one. Ivory Coast is here. Democratic Republic. Burundi is this one. Oh my god. Djibouti. We're on a roll. Mozambique. Niger. This one. Oh my god. Comoros. It's an island, right? Oh shit. Gabon. Gabon is it here? Oh no. Ghana. Where's Gabon? Oh. Egypt, Morocco, Senegal, Ghana, Eswatini, Nigeria, Central, Western Sahara, South Africa. On a roll! Sudan. This one. Sierra Leone is... No! Guinea-Bissau. Botswana. Rwanda. It's here. Algeria. Uganda. Oof. Damn it. Libya, Tanzania, one of these. Seychelles, Madagascar, Lesotho, Ethiopia. Angola must be this one. Liberia. Are we gonna make it? Mauritania, this one. Ah, fuck. Where's Mauritania? Ah, no. Chad, Mauritius, Tunisia, Zambia. Namibia? Kenya? Sudan? Oh! My God! 80! 80! Okay, we're gonna do it. I'm feeling it. 80, what am I missing? Oh, I was in the zone! Alright, these. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good with these. I don't know about these. I think these were lucky. These are luck. Have to admit. I don't know these. Yeah, these I'm not familiar with, and these ones, I guess, or that specific one. These ones, these two, and then these. But that's it. Holy shit. Oh. Yeah, I promise I did it. It's true. It counts. Fuck. You guys are just staring at my face. Okay, I should have read the chat. Oh, God. Wait, it counted. It counts. It counts. I did it. I did it. No, I did it. Fuck. Alright. The entire time. God damn it. It sounds to you like a song. Okay. Well, I don't want to do it again. Just trust me, okay? It was 80%. It was 80. I swear. I swear to God. I swear to God. It counts, but I owe you a song. I kind of sang a song in the beginning, so it's a little bit. One verse. Does that count? The entire time. Oh, God. I hate it. You guys should have seen it. It was so great. So, I think I'm having trouble with this part of Africa right now. Yeah, the rest, kind of got. These I kind of got. The islands, I'm kind of iffy on. But it's mostly these countries. Liar, liar. It's true. You gotta believe me. You gotta believe. Whoa. What is this capital? How do you pronounce that? Ouagadougou. Okay, anyways. I'm such an idiot. Zambia, Tanzania, and Uganda. Okay. Gotcha. Alright, sorry guys. Sorry. Should have read the chat. But if I read the chat, it would have been cheating, no? You guys might have given me hints. Tanzania is between the lakes. Tanzania is between the lakes. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm so sorry. All right. What happened last week? All right. So last week, our hero Xiaofeng, remember he made friends with the emperor of the Liao Empire. The name is Yulu Hongji, I guess. There's a rebellion in the empire, and then Xiaofeng, he rides into battle by himself into enemy lines, and he kills the rebel leader. Okay, and he saves the empire from the rebellion. The emperor gives him this major government position. He's the lord of the southern chancellery. One day, he's a lord. He's doing his lord things, and one day he's riding with his men, and Azi, and they run into some Liao troops bringing home some Han Chinese prisoners back from a raid, right? So they just did a raid and they captured some like Han Chinese people. And they're bringing them back in chains. And Xiao Fang, he orders them to give the prisoners to him so that he can free them. Now, among the prisoners, there's this one young man who says he has a secret to tell Xiao Fang. And he leans close and then he tries to stab him. Now, Xiao Fang, he's not going to die from that, right? He dodges, of course, and then it turns out that this young man, is the son of one of the men that he killed way back in Juxian Manor when he went all crazy and started fighting all of those like high-level martial artists. So the kid's name is You Tanzhi. Xiao Fang lets the kid go. He doesn't kill him. And he tells the kid, hey, you want to seek revenge again in the future? You're welcome to, if you want. Whenever you want, okay? But I'm not going to kill you. And that's it. How about that? You always think of Cameroon as in the armpit. Cameroon is in the armpit. Gotcha. Okay, that's good. I do have snacks. They look like little kid snacks. I wonder what these are. I have no idea. Yeah, I bought this whole package of Japanese snacks, so. Oh! Onion rings? Ooh. Or big Cheerios. Oh. Neither. Kind of sweet. A little bit sweet. And then a little bit savory. No, not onion rings. What is it? I don't know. I don't even know what it is. I don't want it. It's a 3 out of 10. Taste of sadness. It's a 2.5 out of 10. Ew. It's kind of sweet, and then the sweetness goes away, and then it's kind of savory. It's a very weird taste. The bot is still here? What bot? I don't see a bot. I can't believe I just did the entire quiz. Off screen. You guys are just staring at my face like little creeps. Okay. Chapter 28. Surviving the Wilderness, Forging a Cast Iron Head. Alright. You Tanzhi, this is the kid who tried to kill Xiao Fang. Now I guess we're in his perspective now. You Tanzhi saw Xiao Fang and his party travel north. They did not turn back at all. Only then was he certain that he wouldn't die. He pondered, why did that traitor not kill me? He looks down upon me and thinks that killing me will dirty his hands. He became some kind of lord in the Liao Empire. It would be even more difficult for me to take revenge from now on. But at least I found the whereabouts of this traitor. Like the time I read the whole chapter with the camera on my face. Oh yeah, I did that too. I read the entire chapter with just my face. He leaned down to pick up the quicklime bag, then went to look for the short knife thrown aside by Xiao Fang's horsewhip. Suddenly he saw an oilcloth bag within the left vegetation. It was the exact same bag retrieved by Xiao Feng from his bosom. He picked it up immediately and opened the bag. Inside was a book. He flipped the pages of it. Every page had curvy writings. He did not understand a single word from the writings. Remember, this book was the book from the Shaolin Temple that Aju stole, if you remember. Yeah, she stole it, and then she tried to give it to Xiaofeng to train, but then turns out it was written in Sanskrit, so no one could read it. It looks like Xiaofeng dropped it for some reason. I thought he has a super good martial arts. How does he drop things by mistake? When Xiaofeng saw this oilcloth bag, he was thinking of someone else. Oh, it tells us. He was absent-minded. When he put his tendon-changing sutra back into his bosom, he didn't secure it properly. When his horse jolted off, the book just dropped into the vegetation, and he didn't realize it at all. You Tanzhi thought to himself, "This is most probably Khitan text. The trader carried this book with him personally. It must be something greatly valuable to him. I won't return it to him. Let him worry about it, which is a good thing." He felt a faint sense of satisfaction, of revenge. He put the book back into the oilcloth bag and kept it in his bosom, and then traveled south. At an early age, he learned martial arts from his father, but he had a thin and frail body and weak muscular strength. He was totally incompatible for the strong and fierce martial arts style of the Yole brothers. After learning martial arts for 3 years, his progress was minimal. He couldn't claim to be the son of a famous martial arts master with his level of skill. As he learned till he was 12 years old, Yoju was disheartened, and he discussed with his brother Yoji. Both of them agreed. "Our Yole family produced this kind of three-legged cat skill. Won't people laugh until their mouths become slanted? Moreover, if people know this is the son and nephew of the twin Yole heroes of the Juxian Manor, they won't hold back and use their full strength. They will kill him with a single stroke. It would be better to let him study literature, so as to preserve him his life." Thus, from the age of 12, You Tanzhi stopped learning martial arts, and Yoju hired a tutor to teach him how to study. But he did not concentrate while studying. He was always imagining and daydreaming. His teacher said, Student Zhi, while learning, is it not a pleasure?" He replied, "It depends on what you are learning. Father taught me boxing. I was happy while learning that." The teacher fumed. "Confucius was referring to scholarly learning. Life great undertaking. When did he refer to boxing and playing with spears?" You Tanzhi replied, "Fine, you curse my father and uncle. You say my father is not a good man because he boxed and played with spears. I will go tell my father." And he eventually drove the teacher away in anger. This went on, and he continually drove all his teachers away in anger. Yoju gave his son several beatings, but he became even more obstinate and mischievous after each beating. Yoju saw his son was unworthy, stubborn, and difficult to teach. He was at a loss. He could only give a long sigh and pay no notice. Thus, You Tanzhi was 18 years old now. Although he came from a famous family, he was neither proficient in literature nor martial arts. His uncle and father committed suicide. His mother banged her head on a pillar to die with her husband. He was alone and helpless, and wandered around aimlessly. All he ever thought was to seek Xiaofeng for revenge. This translator is awful. Yeah, I have to fix it on the fly. All of his grammar mistakes. Okay, so You Tanzhi, he's 18 years old. He's trying to seek revenge for his family. His uncle and father committed suicide because they lost to Xiaofeng, and his mother died alongside her husband. That day at the battle at Juxian Manor, he hid behind a screen wall and observed the battle. He saw clearly Xiaofeng's appearance and shape, and heard that he was a Khitan. He was muddle-headed and just went searching north. Along the way, he saw a petty thief using quicklime to blind his enemies. He felt this was a good method. He copied him and made a quicklime package. He was loitering around the borders when the Khitans captured him during their raid. Unexpectedly, he met Xiao Feng, and he even managed to throw the quicklime package. It could be said he was lucky to the extreme. He pondered, "Right now, the most important thing is to escape as far as possible. Don't let him capture me. I'll catch a poisonous snake or a big centipede, then I will put it on his bed. When he's sleeping, the bugs will bite him to death. That young lady, alas, she is so beautiful." Oh no. He's fallen for Azu. Not good. As he thought of Azu's appearance, his chest heated up for no reason, and his face felt like an oven. He pondered, "I don't know when I will get to see her to see her pale face, the delicate and elegant young lady." He hung his head and took big steps. After a while, he overtook the group of captives released by Xiao Feng. Some of them invited him to travel with the group, but he ignored them and traveled alone. After walking for 10 li, his stomach groaned in hunger. He looked around for something to eat, but there was nothing except withered grass and snow on the grass plains. He pondered, "If only I was a cow or a sheep, I can eat the grass and drink the snow water. I would be so happy. But if I am a little lamb, other people will slaughter my mother and father, the 2 old lamb, and eat them. Then should I take revenge? I cannot live under the same sky as my enemy. Of course I have to take revenge. But how should I do it? Use my 2 horns to bang those people that killed my parents? But these people rear animals for the purpose of eating them. Where is the logic in revenge?" He was letting his imagination run wild. Suddenly, he heard the sound of horse hooves. 3 Khitan soldiers came riding on horses. Once they saw him, there was a rustle sound, and they slipped a lasso over his neck. They pulled, and the rope tightened. Yo Tanzhu could not maintain his footing and fell down. The soldiers dragged him away. Yo Tanzhu gave a few blood-curdling screams. Immediately, the rope around his neck tightened further, and he could not scream anymore. The Khitan soldiers were afraid the rope might strangle him to death, and they immediately slowed the horse's steps. Yo Tanzhu struggled and got up from the ground. He loosened the lasso around his neck. A Khitan soldier gave a strong tug. Yo Tanzhu staggered and almost fell down again. The 3 Khitan soldiers laughed at him. The soldiers, holding on to the ropes, said a few words to Yo Tanzhu. Yo Tanzhu did not understand Khitan. He shook his head. The soldier waved his hand, and the horse moved off again, but this time it did not gallop off quickly. Yo Tanzhu was afraid of being strangled by the ropes and losing his breath. He walked 2 steps and ran 3 steps to follow the soldiers. He saw the 3 Khitan soldiers heading north. He was afraid. Xiao Feng only worded it nicely. He said he would release me, but in a blink of an eye he ordered his subordinates to capture me back. How will I survive? After leaving home and heading north, all he ever thought of was revenge. He did not know the impossibility of the task. When he saw Xiao Feng, the tragic death of his parents muddled his head. With a burst of effort, he thought of using quicklime to blind him, and then he would use the short knife to stab him to death. But he failed on the first strike and lost his drive. He immediately thought of escaping, but he got captured by Khitan soldiers again. Originally, when he was captured during the initial raid, he was mixed into the crowd. He only got hit once on his back by the back of a blade. But the situation now is vastly different. He staggered and collided with objects. As he was dragged along, he was breathless. He fell down every 10 steps. Every time he fell, the lasso would leave another blood-stained line on the back of his neck. The Khitans did not stop for even a moment. They did not care about his safety and dragged him straight back into Nanjing City. When he entered the city, Yo Tanzhu was drenched with blood. He prayed that he would simply die instead of suffering this misery. The 3 Khitan soldiers traveled for a few li in the city. They dragged him before a huge house. Yotanjiro saw the floor was covered with blue stone tiles. The pillars were thick and doors were high. He didn't know where he was. After waiting for less than the time required to brew tea, the soldiers holding the rope rode his horse and entered a huge courtyard. Suddenly he gave a whistle. The horse galloped off quickly. Yotanjiro did not expect this. The soldier went around the courtyard 3 times. The horse galloped faster and faster. Around 10 soldiers were cheering and spectating at the sides. Yotanjiro thought, "It seems they want to drag me around till I die." His forehead, limbs, and body collided with the blue stone floor. He was aching everywhere. Among the laughter of the Khitan soldiers, there was a crisp laughter of a female mixed in. Yotanjiro was drowsy. He faintly heard the female laugh and said, "Ha ha, I am afraid this human kite won't fly at all." Wait. Oh, this is her talking. "Haha, I'm afraid this human kite won't fly at all." Yotanjiro pondered, "What human kite?" At this moment, the rope tightened around the back of his neck. His body rose up in the air. He finally understood. The soldier was galloping fast with the horse in order to lift him up in the air. He was treated like a kite to be played around. His body was high up in the air. The back of his neck had already lost all feelings from the pain. His nose and mouth was buffeted by the wind. He had difficulties breathing. But he heard the woman clap and laughed. "Very good, very good. The human kite flew really well." Yotanjiro looked towards the origin of the voice. The woman was wearing purple robes, I think I know who she is, and was a beautiful young lady. Upon seeing her, his chest was excited. He didn't know if it was due to happiness or sadness. As he flew around in the air, he was incapable of thinking. Wait, so he's tied behind the horse, and the horse is riding, and he's flying in the air. The beautiful young lady was Azi. I knew I hated her. When she saw Xiaofeng release Yotanjiro, she was unhappy. After riding for a distance, she deliberately lagged behind and instructed her attendant to quietly capture Yotanjiro, and they could not reveal this matter to Xiaofeng. The followers all knew that Lord Xiao was very doting towards her, thus they accepted her orders. They pretended to adjust the belts and buckle of the horse saddle. Once Xiaofeng traveled far away, they turned back and pursued Yotanjiro. When Azi returned to Nanjing, she waited at a temple far away from Xiaofeng's residence. When Yotanjiro was successfully captured, she consulted the Khitan for any fresh ideas on torturing people. Someone suggested fly human kite. This idea appealed to Azi. She ordered Yotanjiro to be flown as a kite, and it unexpectedly worked. Watching from below, Azu found it interesting, and she kept cheering. She said, "Let me fly it." She mounted the horse of the soldier and took over the rope. She said, "Dismount." The soldier dismounted the horse and allowed Azu to fly the human kite. Azu pulled the rope and went a few rounds on the horse. She laughed loudly and cheered repeatedly. "Interesting, interesting." But she had just recovered from a heavy injury. Her hand was devoid of strength. Once her wrist weakened, the rope sagged, and Yotanjiro crashed heavily on the blue stone floor. With a pung sound, his forehead collided with the sharp edge of a rock. Immediately, the wound caved in and and blood gushed out. Azu was extremely disappointed. She fumed. "This stupid kid is so heavy." Yotanjiro nearly fainted from the pain. As he listened to her complain about his weight, he wanted to explain, but the pain was so bad that he couldn't say a single word. A Khitan soldier walked over and undid the ropes around his neck. Another Khitan soldier tore off his clothes and randomly bandaged his wounds. Fresh blood oozed continuously from his wounds. How could it be stopped? Azu said, he's fine. Let's keep on playing. Send him up again, as high up in the air as possible." Yotanjiro did not understand the Khitan language coming from her, but he saw her making gestures, pointing at his head. He knew it was something bad. Sure enough, a soldier picked up the rope. He looped the rope around his armpit and then around his body. He didn't loop around his neck to avoid strangling him. He gave a shout, "Rise!" and sped off on his horse. He dragged Yotanju on the ground for a few rounds, and eventually Yotanju flew into the air again. The soldier gradually released the rope, and Yotanju flew higher and higher. The Khitan soldier abruptly loosened his grip. With a whizzing sound, Yotanju flew like an arrow that had been fired off a bow. He flew high up in the air. Azu and the rest of the soldiers were cheering and applauding. Yotanju was unwilling, but his body only flew higher and higher. He thought in his heart, "I will really die this time." The ascending thrust force gradually died off. He plunged straight down, back to earth, head first. In a few more moments, his head would smash against the bluestone floor. 4 Khitan soldiers simultaneously sent out their lasso. They wrapped it around his waist and pulled in all 4 directions. Yotanju fainted immediately, but the force coming from all 4 directions suspended him in midair. His head was 3 feet off the ground. This maneuver was dangerous to the extreme. If one of the lassos was sent out a bit slow, the force would not balance out, and Yotanju's brain would definitely burst. The Khitan soldiers practiced this trick on the Song people. The captives all became human kites. 8 or 9 out of 10 would smash headfirst on the ground. Although the ground on the grass plain was soft, plummeting down from height, even if their head did not crack open, their neck would also break, and they would die on the spot. As everyone was celebrating, the 4 Khitan soldiers released Yotanju from the ropes. Azu took out her silvers and rewarded every soldier with 5 silvers. The soldiers gave their thanks. They asked, "Miss, you want to play something else?" Azu saw Yotanju had already fainted. She didn't know if he was dead or alive. She exerted excessive force when flying the human kite, and now her chest hurt badly. She did not have any strength to carry on playing. She replied, "Enough fun for today. Bring this kid to see me tomorrow. If he survives, I'll think of something to wear him down. This person wants to plot against Lord Xiao. We can't let him die too easily." The soldiers agreed in unison. They carried off the blood-soaked Yotanju. When Yotanju woke up, he smelled a moldy odor. He opened his eyes, but all he could see was darkness. His first thought was, "Am I dead?" Immediately, he felt pain all over his body. He was extremely thirsty. His voice was hoarse, and he said, "Water, water." But who would even care about him? After calling out a few times, he felt drowsy, and he fell asleep. Suddenly, he saw his uncle and father fighting with Qiao Feng. Blood was flowing everywhere. He saw his mother cradling him in her arms, comforting him gently, asking him to be not afraid. He saw Azu, her beautiful face, her bright eyes emitting a strange light. Her face suddenly narrowed into a triangle and became the head of a snake, sticking out its blood-red, long tongue. Yep, that looks like her all right. Exposing its fangs as it bit him. Yotanju struggled, but he couldn't move. The snake bit him on his hands, legs, neck, everywhere. The bite on his forehead was especially painful. He saw his flesh being bitten off. He wanted to scream, but he couldn't. He tossed and turned around the whole night. He was tortured when he was awake, and now he felt pain and suffering in his dreams. The next day, 2 Khitan soldiers hauled him off to see Azu. He had high fever, and it did not subside. He took a step and immediately collapsed. The 2 Khitan soldiers supported his left and right shoulders. They reproached him loudly, dragged him into a large house. Yotanju pondered. Where are they dragging me? Am I going to be beheaded? He was drowsy. He found it difficult to think properly. He passed by 2 sets of doors, and he stopped outside a hall. The 2 soldiers reported their arrival outside the hall. A female voice acknowledged from the inside. They opened the door to the hall and supported him in. Yotanju raised his head. There was a huge decorative carpet in the hall. Sitting on a cushion at the end was a beautiful young girl. It was Azu. Both her feet were resting on the carpet. When Yotanju saw her snow-white, crystal-like feet, he's that kind of guy, eh? It was really like smooth jade. It was as soft as satin. His heart was thumping fiercely, his eye fixed firmly on her feet. The flesh on the back of her feet was transparent. Several veins were faintly reflected. He really wanted to stretch out his hand to touch it. The two Khitan soldiers released him. Yotanju swayed left and right, and finally maintained his footing. His gaze did not leave Azu's feet. He saw her 10 toenails were pale red. It was like 10 flower petals. Yeah, that was a poetic way of describing her feet. Azu pointed at him. Azu looked at him. All she saw was an ugly, dirty youth. His face was twisted, jaws protruding, but his eyes glowed with greedy flames. She immediately thought of an injured and hungry wolf. When she was at Xingxiu Sea, she and her two martial brothers would go hunting. She shot a hungry wolf, but she failed to kill it. The wolf suffered serious injuries and stared at her venomously. The expression was exactly the same as Yotanju's gaze. The wolf wanted to pounce on her and bite her to death. Although it couldn't jump, it still bared a dense row of fangs, howling with anger. But Yotanju was simply too weak. He didn't resist at all. It really was not interesting. Yeah, she thinks he wants to kill her. But he's thinking something else entirely. Yesterday, he threw quicklime at Xiaofeng, and he refused to kneel. His manner and speech was stubborn. He refused money from Xiaofeng. Azu liked it very much. She thought he must be a ferocious and powerful wild beast. She wanted to torture him. She wanted to cover him with injuries. And when his injuries... And when he was injured, she wanted him to ferociously fight back and bite her. Of course, he could not be allowed to succeed with his bite. But when she captured him and flew him as a human kite, this wild beast did not fight back. He gave a dead look. That was not fun at all. She frowned and pondered. How should I torment him so that it will be fun? Suddenly, Yotanju made two huh sounds. A burst of strength came out of nowhere. Like a leopard, he pounced towards Azu, grabbing her calf. He lowered his head and kissed the back of her feet. Azu had a huge shock. She screamed. 2 Khitan soldiers and 4 slave girls serving Azu shouted in unison, and they rushed forward to pull him away. But Yotanju firmly held onto her calf and refused to let go. The Khitan soldier gave a tug, and Azu was pulled off the cushion seat, and she fell onto the carpet mat. The 2 soldiers were shocked and angry. They dared not pull again. One soldier hit his back. The other soldier hit his face. The injuries on Yotanju swelled. His fever had not yet subsided. He was in a confused state. It was as if he was crazy. He did not notice anything in front of him. He firmly held on to Azu's feet. He is totally a feet guy. Totally. Azu felt his hot, dry lips on her feet. She was frightened, but she also felt a strange itching sensation. She screamed, "Aiyo, he's biting my toes!" She hurriedly said to the 2 soldiers, "Quickly back off! This man is crazy! Aiyo, do not let him bite my toes!" Yotanju was biting her toes gently. Although Azu felt pain, she was more afraid that he might forcefully bite down. In her flurried state, she knew he could not be stopped with brute force. She feared that if the soldiers carried on their beatings, he would really bite down randomly. What is he doing? He's sucking on her toes. This man is crazy. What's going on? The 2 soldiers did not have any idea, me neither, did not have any idea as to how to handle him, and they could only release him. Azu cried, "Stop biting! I'll spare your life! Aiyo, I will release you!" Currently, Yo Tanjiro was in a deranged state. How would he even register what she said? A Khitan soldier grabbed his saber and withdrew it from the scabbard. He did not want to hesitate anymore and was going to chop it at Yo Tanjiro's neck to cut off his head. Azu said, "Hey, you are not a wild beast. Why are you biting people? Quickly, release your mouth. I will ask someone to tend to your wounds and release you back to the central plains." Yo Tanjiro still ignored her. He did not exert strength with his bite and didn't injure her. His hands were gently fondling her feet. He was in a dreamlike state. He became a human kite again, flying high up into the clouds. And this is insanity. A Khitan soldier suddenly had a brainwave. He clutched Yo Tanjiro's throat. When Yo Tanjiro's throat was caught, his mouth opened involuntarily. Azu quickly withdrew her leg and took out her toes from his mouth. She stood up, fearing that he might go crazy and start biting again. She hid her feet behind the cushions. Two Khitan soldiers caught hold of Yo Tanjiro. They raised their fists and struck his chest repeatedly. After 10 fists, he gave two "bwah" sounds and spurt a few mouthfuls of fresh blood. The blood stained the brightly colored carpet. Azu said, Stop hitting." After this thrilling experience, she felt this kid was pretty weird and interesting. She didn't want to kill him immediately. The Khitan soldiers stayed their hands and stopped hitting. Azu sat cross-legged on the cushion, her pair of feet under her buttocks. She pondered, "How should I torture him?" Chat poll. If Lynphemy is a feet guy. Let's poll. I can do polls, right? Doop, 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 doop. There you go. Azu looked up and saw Yo Tanjiro staring at her. She asked, "Why are you staring at me?" Yo Tanjiro had already disregarded his life. He replied, "You're pretty. I like to look at you." Azu blushed and thought, "This kid is really bold. He dares to say such frivolous stuff." But in her entire life, no one had complimented her beauty. When she learned her skills at Xingxiu's sect, her martial brothers all treated her as a mischievous little girl. When she followed Xiaofeng, he was worried about whether she might cause trouble, or if she would die from injury. He didn't care if she was ugly or pretty. Yo Tanjiro spoke bluntly. It was obvious that his praise was honest and sincere. She was secretly overjoyed, and pondered, "I will keep him by my side and use him to pass the time. That will be pretty good. But brother-in-law said to release him. If he knows I captured him again, he would definitely be angry. I can hide the truth today, but I can't hide it from him forever. What should I do so that brother-in-law will never know of this matter? I can stop other people from communicating with him, but if brother-in-law suddenly comes over to visit me and sees him, what should I do?" Lynphemy is the sleeve guy. Alright, how's the polling going? Alright, vote in the poll, guys. Wait, do I stop the poll by myself? How do I do that? Or does it just stop it automatically? She thought for a moment. Suddenly, she had an idea. Aju was good at disguise. When she was disguised as father, brother-in-law did not even recognize her. I will give this boy a new appearance. Then brother-in-law will surely not recognize him. But if he is not willing, after I apply the makeup, he would simply wash it away and return back to his original appearance. Wouldn't it be useless? Wouldn't it be useless? Ryan, thanks so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. It stops after everyone votes. It can't stop after everyone votes because not everyone votes. Oh, so I have to stop it, you mean? Alright, I'm gonna stop it. I can't see the results. Can you guys? Oh, yeah, wait, hold on. Oh, I see it. 50%? Come on. How's it exactly 50%? Okay. Well, the answer is I'm not a foot guy. Not a feet guy, guys. Good guess though. Am I a sleeve guy? I might be a sleeve guy. She wrinkled her brows. At once she had another idea. She clapped her hands and smiled. Great idea! Great idea! I will do it! She spoke to the 2 Khitan soldiers. The soldiers had... Oh no. What is her great idea? This is never good. You don't want to hear her say this. The soldiers had some queries and they consulted her again. Azu gave more details in her explanation. She ordered a maid to retrieve 10 silvers and gave it to the soldiers. The soldiers accepted the silvers, gave a bow, and hauled Yotanjir out of the hall. Yotanjir shouted, I want to look at her! I want to look at this heartless, pretty girl! The Khitan soldiers and the maids did not understand the Han language. They didn't understand what he was shouting about. Azu smiled and looked at his figure. She thought her idea was very clever, and she was very proud of herself. Azu smiled and looked at his figure. She thought her idea was very... Wait. Yotanju was thrown back into the dungeon. At dusk, someone brought a bowl of mutton and a few pieces of rice cake. Yotanju's fever did not subside. He was sputtering nonsense loudly. The person was so scared that he put down the food and left immediately. Yotanju did not realize he was hungry, and thus he never touched the mutton or rice cakes. During the night, 3 Khitans suddenly came into his dungeon. Yotanju was drowsy and mentally confused, but he saw the expressions of these men were peculiar. It was obvious they harbored bad intentions. He vaguely knew something bad was about to happen. He struggled to stand up, wanting to escape. 2 Khitans came forward and held him down. They flipped his body so that his face was facing the sky. Yotanjir swore at them. Khitan dogs, go and die! I will cut you into 1,000 pieces! Suddenly, the 3rd Khitan was holding on to a white object. It was like cotton, also like snow. He forcefully pressed it against his face. The sensation was wet and cold. His brain cleared, but he was suffocating. He thought, So you want to seal my 7 orifices? You want to suffocate me to death? But as he thought of this, immediately he knew he guessed wrongly. Someone gave him a few pokes to his mouth and nose. He could still breathe, but he could not open his face. His face felt wet and greasy. Someone was pinching his face. Some wet stuff was applied on it. It could also be mud paste. Yotanju was in a daze, and he thought, I wonder what kind of bizarre methods these villains will employ to kill me. After a while, the mud layer on his face was gently peeled off by someone. Yotanju opened his eyes. He saw a face mold made out of wet flour. It was his face. So they made a mold out of his face. The Khitan handled the mold carefully with both hands. He was afraid of damaging it. Yotanju cursed again. Stinking Liao dog! You will die without a resting place. The 3 Khitans ignored him. They took the face mold and left. Yotanju suddenly remembered. Yes, they applied poison on my face. Pretty soon my face will rot. My skin and flesh will drop off. I will become a freak. He became more afraid the more he thought about it. He pondered, rather than being tortured to death, I should just kill myself. Immediately he banged his head against the wall. Pung, pung. He banged it 3 times. The prison guard heard the sound and rushed in. They tied up his hands and feet. Yotanju was half dead. and could only allow himself to be restrained. After several days, he did not feel any pain on his face. It didn't rot, but he was still determined to die. Although he was hungry, he did not eat any of the food delivered. In the morning of the 4th day, the 3 Khitan men returned to his dungeon. They hauled him out. Yotanju was lonely. Yotanju's lonely and painful thoughts suddenly made way for sweet thoughts. He thought Azu was summoning him for more torturing. Although his body would suffer, but he could see her beautiful face again. He could not help but reveal a bitter smile. What is wrong with this guy? Oh, I have to end the poll. I'm sorry. But how could it be yes? How is it 58% yes when I just said that I was not? The 3 Khitans took him across several alleys. They entered a dim stone house. He saw blazing charcoals at the side of the stone house. A muscular blacksmith was naked above the waist. He was standing next to a large anvil, holding on to a shiny black object. He was examining the object carefully. The 3 Khitan men hauled Yotanju to the front of the blacksmith. 2 men held his hands, the other held his back. The blacksmith turned around. He studied his face, and then looked at the black object in his hands. He seemed to be making some kind of comparison. What's going on? Alright. Time for a break. I'll be right back. 5-minute break. Cool. Alright. Let's see what's gonna happen to this guy. So Yotanju is like in front of the blacksmith. What is he gonna do? What did Azu have planned for him? What's up, Joshua? Welcome back. Nice of you to join. Yotanju looked at the object in the blacksmith's hand. It was a mask made out of wrought iron. There were 4 holes for the mouth, nose, and eyes. He thought to himself, make this thing for what? The blacksmith picked up the mask and covered Yotanju's face. Naturally, Yotanju avoided it by turning his head away, but something was pressing his head. He could not avoid it. The mask covered his face. He felt a freezing sensation on his face. His skin was stuck onto the metal surface, but he found it odd. The mask fitted him perfectly. It seemed to be custom made. Yotanju felt odd for only an instant. Immediately he understood. He felt a chill down his spine. Ayya, this mask is indeed custom made. That day they applied wet flour on my face. It was the mold for this face mask. They went through so much trouble to create this iron mask. What is their intention? Could it be? In his heart, he knew the vicious intentions of these Khitans, but he did not know the purpose. He dared not think any more. He struggled to run away. The blacksmith removed the mask from his face. He nodded his head, his expression satisfied. He took a large iron plier and gripped the mask with it. He placed the mask in the furnace and heated it until it turned red. His right hand picked up a metal hammer. Chung, chung, chung. He started striking it. After striking the mask for a while, he stretched his hands and touched Yotanju's cheekbone and forehead. He was correcting the mask to fit the non-identical portions. Yotanju shouted, "Damnable Liao dogs! You commit evils that go against your nature. That go against nature. You are so savage and wicked. God will bring calamity upon you. You will all die. You oxen and horses will drop dead. Your babies will die premature." He cursed and sweared, but the Khitan didn't understand a single word. Suddenly, the blacksmith turned around. He glared at Yotanju with a venomous look. He raised a bright red metal plier and poked it towards his eyes. Yotanju was so scared that he gave a loud shrill. The blacksmith was just scaring him for fun. He laughed and retracted the pliers. He took out a metal curved piece and tested it on the back of Yotanju's head. Once adjustments were complete, the blacksmith baked the semicircular iron cover and the mask in the furnace until it turned completely red. He spoke a few words loudly. The three Khitans lifted Yotanju up. They placed him horizontally on a table, his head facing upward. Two extra Khitans came forward to assist. They forcefully pulled his hair. His head couldn't move at all. These 5 men pressed down on his limbs. How could Yotanju even move an inch? The blacksmith used the plier to grip the red-hot mask. He stopped for a while, waiting for the temperature to cool. He gave a shout and covered it on Yotanju's face. White smoke rose. Odors of burnt flesh dispersed in all directions. Yotanju screamed and fainted. The 5 Khitan men flipped his body over. The blacksmith used the pliers to grip the iron cover. He pressed it on the back of his head. The 2 semicircular iron covers became an iron sphere. It covered his head. The iron cover was hot to the extreme. Once it touched the skin, it would be burnt and badly mutilated. The blacksmith was the finest iron worker in Yanjing. The 2 hemispheres combined together flawlessly. Wow. He went. Oh, wait. Where's my scream? He went. Okay. So that was her plan. Hey, why did they have to put the iron mask on while it's hot? Couldn't they just put it while it's cool? They didn't have to burn him, right? Okay. Well, I knew Azu was a bad person. Alright. Starting a poll. Okay. Does Azu need to die? Alright, vote on the poll. I forgot we had polls. It was as if he went through hell. He experienced being burnt and roasted by raging flames. Yotanju did not recall the time, and he slowly regained consciousness, but he felt severe pain on his face and the back of his head. It was really hard to endure, and he fainted again. This went on, and he fainted 3 times, and awoke 3 times. He shouted loudly, but his voice was hoarse to the extreme. It didn't sound like a human voice anymore. If you know the end of the story, can you still vote? Sure, you can still vote, but you can't spoil anyone, okay? He lay down and did not move at all. He clenched his teeth and forcefully endured the pain and suffering on his face and head. This went on for 2 hours. He finally lifted his hands and touched his face. He felt something hard and cold. He correctly guessed it. The iron mask had already covered his head. He was enraged. He pulled and jerked on the mask, but it was welded firmly at the edges. How could he even remove it? In his desperation and hopelessness, he cried out loudly. He was still young, although he experienced such sufferings, but he managed to endure it, and thus it did not seem right to just seek death. After a few days, his wounds healed, and his pain diminished. He knew he was starving. He smelled the fragrant aroma of mutton and rice cakes. He couldn't resist it and ate it. At this moment, he had a clear understanding of the iron mask on his head. So he has 2 holes for the face, for the eyes, and then 1 hole for the mouth. He knew the rot. Oh, I guess, does he have, 2 holes for the nose, maybe? Do you need that? He knew the wrought iron mask had sealed his head perfectly. There was no way he could release it. Initially, he was angry and acted violently, but he finally calmed down. He pondered. This dog trader, Qiao Feng, he covered my face with this iron mask. What is his intentions? If she dies, do we get an Azu sticker? Dum 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 dum. Okay. 80% yes. Let me end that. 80% yes. Agreed. She needs to die. He thought everything came. This guy didn't do anything wrong. He just wanted revenge for his parents. He thought everything came from Xiaofeng's command. Thus, he did not suspect that it was Azu's doing, and the purpose of this mask was to hide his identity from Xiaofeng. How does he not get infection? I guess the mask was burned to his face, right? So you wouldn't get an infection. It's like when you cauterize a wound. Azu questioned the captain daily on the condition of You Tanzhi after he was fitted with the iron mask. Initially, she was worried that he might die, and all the effort would be wasted. When she heard that he would survive, she was extremely happy. On this day, she learned that Xiaofeng was going to the southern outskirts to inspect the troops. Immediately, she ordered the attendant to summon You Tanzhi to the Beginning Fortune Palace. To make Xiaofeng happy, Yulu Hongzhi conferred Azu as Beginning Fortune Princess, and this Beginning Fortune Palace was bestowed as her residence. His biggest mistake is to fall for Azu. Yep. When Azu saw You Tanzhi's appearance, she could not help but be overjoyed, and it flared from the bottom of her heart. She thought, my method is effective. With this mask on, even if brother-in-law was standing right next to him, he would definitely not recognize him. You Tanzhi walked forward a few steps. Azu applauded and said, attendant, this mask is well done. Take another 50 silvers and reward the blacksmith. The attendant replied, yes, thank you, princess. Linfamy is Azu in disguise. What? Excuse me? You Tanzhi peered out from the 2 eye holes in the mask. He saw Azu's facial expression. There was boundless love and innocence. What? He listened to her sweet and melodious voice. He could not help but stare at her blankly. Okay, well, this guy's lost. We've lost him. We've lost him, guys. He's done for. He's gone. After wearing the mask, Azu saw his appearance was strange, but she could still tell that he was staring fixedly at her. She asked, silly boy, why are you staring at me? You Tanzhi said, I don't know. You look pretty. Azu smiled. After wearing this mask, does it feel comfortable? You Tanzhi replied bitterly, do you think it's comfortable? Azu giggled and said, I really don't know. She saw that the mouth hole for the mask was a narrow seam. It was just enough for him to drink and eat. If he wanted to eat meat, he would have shredded to pieces before he could push it through the seam. Oh no. But it was impossible for him to bite her legs again. She laughed. I put this mask on you so that you will never be able to bite me again. You Tanzhi was overjoyed. He said, does Miss want me to frequently stay by your side and serve you? Azu said, peh, you are a pig bastard. If I keep you by my side, you will constantly think of stuff to harm me. How can I tolerate it? I will never harm you. My enemy is Qiao Feng. You want to harm my brother-in-law? Isn't it equivalent to harming me? What is the difference? As You Tanzhi listened to her words, his heart soured. He was speechless. Azu smiled. You want to harm my brother-in-law. It's the same as climbing to heaven. Impossible. Silly boy, do you want to die? You Tanzhi said, naturally, I don't want to die, but with this weird thing on my head, I don't resemble a human or a ghost. There is no difference from dying. The mask is on so he doesn't try to bite her toes again. No, the mask is on so that Xiao Feng doesn't recognize him. I guess the fact that he can't bite her toes again is a bonus. Azu said, "If you would rather die, good. I will fulfill your wish, but I will not let you die immediately. I'll first chop off your left hand." She turned and said to the attendant beside her, "Attendant, haul him out and chop off his left hand." Wait a minute. The attendant replied, "Affirmative," and he stretched out his hands to grab Yo Tanju's arm. Yo Tanju was shocked and cried, No, miss, I don't want to die. Please don't chop my hands." Azu gave a faint smile. "Once I say something, it's difficult to retract it, unless you kneel down and kowtow." Yo Tanju had a slight hesitation, and the attendant already dragged him 2 steps back. Yo Tanju did not dare delay any longer. He softened his knees, knelt down, and kowtowed. The iron mask knocked against the gray bricks and produced a dung sound. Azu smiled tenderly and said, "Your kowtow sounds so nice. I have never heard it before. You kowtow a few more times for me to hear." Yo Tanju was after all a young master of a manor. Although he was poor in literature and martial arts, and the people at the manor all knew he was good for nothing. But Yoji died early, and he only had one precious son. The young master had hundreds at his beck and call. He grew up being pampered. How could he endure this kind of humiliation? When he met Xiao Feng again for the first time, he was arrogant and rather died than surrendered. But after receiving extreme bodily torture and mental trauma, his youthful heroic spirit had dissipated and vanished without a trace. As he listened to Azu, he immediately kowtowed repeatedly. Dung, dung sounds rang out. This goddess-like lady praised that his kowtow sounded nice. He felt a faint sense of fondness in his heart. Oh gosh, she's terrible. She's the worst. You know who she is? She's Joffrey. She's a female Joffrey. Oh god. Azu gave a charming smile. "Very good. From now on, you will listen to me. If you have the slightest bit of defying my orders, I will immediately chop off your arm. Do you understand?" Yo Tanju said, Yes. I made you wear this iron mask. Do you know the reason?" "I don't know." "You are so stupid. I saved your life, and you still didn't express your gratitude. Lord Xiao Feng wants to chop you into mincemeat. You still don't know?" Yo Tanju replied, "He killed my father. Naturally, he cannot allow me to live." "He pretended to release you, and then ordered someone to capture you back to turn you into mincemeat. I saw that you are not too bad. It would be a pity to kill you, so I hid the truth from him and concealed you. But if Lord Xiao runs into you again, how would you survive? You will even drag me into this mess and implicate me." Yo Tanju suddenly saw the light to the matter. He said, "Ah, miss, you casted this mask and made me wear it. It's for my own good. You saved my life. I am exceedingly grateful. Really, I am really grateful." Azu was fooling him. She managed to deceive him and gained his heartfelt appreciation. She was extremely proud and said, "Now that you know the reason, next time you see Lord Xiao, you must not make any sound, or else he will recognize your voice. If he recognizes your voice, he will give a pull and tear your left arm off. He will give another jerk and tear your right arm off. Attendant, go fetch some Khitan attire and wash his body. His entire body reeks of blood. It smells so bad." The attendant obeyed and led Yo Tanju out. After a while, the attendant returned with Yo Tanju and had dressed him in Khitan attire. To make Azu happy, the attendant deliberately dressed him in multicolored clothes. He looked neither male nor female, like a clown. Azu chuckled. "I'll give you a name called Iron Clown. You cannot refuse. Iron Clown." Yo Tanju quickly replied, "Yes." Azu was very happy. Suddenly, she remembered an issue and said, Attendant, Dashu country gifted a lion to us, correct? Ask the tamer to bring the lion over and summon 10 guards here. The attendant obeyed and went out to relay the orders. 10 spear-wielding guards entered the palace. They bowed and paid their respects to Azu. They turned around. 6 spearheads faced outward, protecting Azu. Not long after, they heard a lion roar. 8 strong men carried a large metal cage and entered. A male lion was pacing around in the cage, yellow fur and long mane, sharp claws and fangs, its expression powerful. The lion's tamer held a leather whip and led the men. Azu saw this lion was ferocious and terrifying. She was extremely happy and said, Iron Clown, you said you will obey anything I say, but I don't know if that's true or not. I want to test you and see if you really obey anything I say. Yotanju replied, Yes. He saw this lion and secretly had some misgivings. He did not understand the purpose, but listening to Azu's words, his heart started beating rapidly. Azu said, I don't know if the iron mask on your head is hard and sturdy enough. You go stick your head in the cage. Let the lion give it a few bites and check if it can break the iron mask. Yotanju had a huge shock. He said, This can't be tested. If the mask really breaks my head... What use are you? You are afraid of such a small matter. A real man should not be afraid of dying. Furthermore, I think the mask will probably not break. Miss, you can't play around with such matters. Even if the mask doesn't break, this beast will flatten the mask in my head. At most, your head gets flattened. You are such a troublesome kid. Your original appearance wasn't good. If your head gets flattened, it would be inside the mask. The rest of us can't see it at all. Who cares whether you're good looking or not? I'm not talking about whether I'm good looking, but... Azu's expression became grave and said, You don't obey my words, fine. I am done with my assessment of you. You deliberately lied to me. I will throw you into the cage and feed you to the lion. She instructed the attendant using the Khitan's language. The attendant replied, Affirmative, and started dragging Yotanju's arm. Yotanju pondered, If I get thrown into the cage, how can I even survive? It's better to just obey her words. Stick my head into the cage, and try my luck. He shouted, Don't drag me in! Don't drag me in! Miss, I will obey you. Azu smiled and said, That's a good boy. Let me tell you, whatever I tell you next time, just do it immediately. Stop giving excuses and making me angry. Attendant, give him 30 lashes. Oh, she is terrible. The attendant replied, Affirmative, and took the leather whip from the lion tamer. With a shwa sound, he lashed it on Yotanju's back. Yotanju cried out in pain. Azu said, Iron Clown, let me tell you, when I ask someone to hit you, I actually think highly of you. You're making so much noise, you dislike me hitting you. Is that it? Yotanju replied, I like it very much. I thank Miss for bestowing kindness on me. Good. Carry on hitting. The attendant consecutively lashed out 10 times. Yotanju gritted his teeth and endured. He didn't make a single sound. Luckily, he was wearing an iron mask, and the whip avoided his head. He could endure lashings on his chest and back. How is she Aju's sister? Yeah, really. Dum dum dum. I think we're halfway. Okay. All right. I think we stop here, guys. Tune in next time to see what happens with Yotanju and the lion. Yeah. This girl is terrible. Horrible. Horrible. She needs to die immediately. All right. Did you guys like the chapter? Oh, cheers. Song? Why song? Because I forgot the screen to switch the screens? No, I didn't say that. That wasn't part of the rules. I never agreed to that. You have to catch me on a word. Okay? Catch me on a definition. Okay. Well, Azu needs to die, right? She's gotta die at some point. You said that? Did I agree? Hey, Nikki, did I agree? Did I? Did I? It was any mistakes as well. No, not any mistakes. It was just if you catch me on a definition. The original rule was to take a shot. Oh, that's true. Oh, the original rule to change. Oh, true. The original rule was if I forgot to switch screens, I would take a shot. I agreed to a song because I wouldn't take the test again. I agreed to a song. Can I consider this a shot? Do I need to break out the vodka? Alright, I'll do this. That's it. Okay. I hope you guys like the chapter. I forgot we had polls. We should do more polls. See what people think about the story. Alright, guys. Hopefully Azu dies next chapter. Okay, crossing fingers. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. I love you. I'll see you next time. Bye.